First of all, thank you everybody for coming to today's farewell event with the Mobile Command Center. This is a piece of equipment that the Bristol County Sheriff's Office has had for over 2 decades. I am turning this over to the New Bedford Police Department and Chief Oliveira. I believe that this will get more and better use with the New Bedford Police Department, and this is something that we've had, as I said, for probably close to 2 decades. I'm going to turn this over to Chief Oliveira to say a few words, and then we'll also have Colonel Gavigan say a few words about the history of this piece of equipment. So, Chief.
Sure. Thanks, Sheriff. Thank you all. So really I'm here today to accept this piece of equipment and really to thank the Sheriff for his kindness and his show of cooperation with our agency. And the conversations I've had with the Sheriff, it's really not just about our agency, it's a machine, a vehicle, a response unit, so it can be used for so many different things all throughout Bristol County. Obviously we're going to letter it up with some New Bedford police, but there's no doubt about it that once it comes into our possession, it'll continue to be used throughout Bristol County and through our neighborhood departments for whatever the case may be. But obviously in New Bedford, with the number of large events that we have, vehicles such as this come into great use as command centers to be able to go in there and plan accordingly, keep you out of the weather, and have a radio system. So we truly appreciate this. On behalf of Mayor Mitchell and the New Bedford Police and the City of New Bedford, we thank the Sheriff for his cooperation.
Thank you. Thanks. So, give me this a second. So, now I'm going to turn over to Colonel David Gavigan, who's been with us for a good number of years, and he has been kind of the historian of this Mobile Command Center. So, Colonel, come on.
How are you? Good.
Good morning, everyone. This truck arrived actually a few days after 9/11. It had been about 2 years in the planning. It's had a lot of calls, and it's good to see it go out to a city that will probably get more use than we had out of it. A lot of towns have now tried to pick up small incident command centers, which is good, but this here is available for major incidents, and I hope we don't have a lot of them. So, Chief, I know you're going to take good care of it. It's been in the garage, and you look at it, looks like it's brand new. It's now about 23 years old, and again, serving the people of Bristol County. Thank you very much, Sheriff, for making a good decision on getting that out to New Bedford, and I'm sure that New Bedford will take good care of it.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Colonel.
So one of the things we're going to do in place of having this in the maintenance building is I've spoken with Chris Horta, who's in charge of maintenance in the fleet, and we're looking at putting another lift in the maintenance garage along with a wheel alignment machine, which would, with a fleet that we have about 100 vehicles, it's going to quickly pay for itself for those extra things, and that means we'll be able to save more money in the future. So this was multiple reasons that we were passing this over to New Bedford. It frees up space for us to do things more maintenance related, frees up space in the maintenance garage. It'll get more and better use with the New Bedford Police Department. And with that, I'm going to formally turn the keys over to Chief Oliveira. So, Chief, for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes. And happy to take any questions if folks have any.
How did you come to this decision?
Well, it was my first couple weeks when I was here. I think it was probably the first week or two. I met with Chris Horta, who's the director of maintenance, and he also oversees the fleet and maintenance of the fleet. And he showed me the building behind us, and he showed me the space that was being used, and the mobile command center was just sitting there. And he was telling me about the needs that he has with taking care of the fleet, the 100 vehicles that we have. And he said, if we had space in here to put another lift and to do a wheel alignment machine, we could probably save money. And so I said, well, I looked at the history of this, the command center, and I said, well, we're not using it as much as it could or should be used. Might get more use with the police department in the area. And so I said, let's move forward with unloading this and give it to somebody else who'll get more and better use. And now we're here.
So previous sheriffs have offered to use this to help patrol city streets, New Bedford being one of them. Is that how you hope to run the sheriff's department, or is that why you're passing this piece of equipment off?
I'm trying to run a jail system that I really want to focus inwards. My predecessor, Tom Hodgson, was very good about focusing on things outside of the jail system. He excelled at that. He really was able to capitalize on a lot of the criminal justice issues outside of the jail system. I'm just a different administrator. I'm really focusing on just running a jail system with limited law enforcement support on the outside, and so we just have different priorities. And so I thought that this would be a good way to help really kind of unload some of those other things that I'm really not going to be focused on. Otherwise, this would probably just not get nearly the use it'll get if it's with New Bedford or someone else.
Are there other pieces of equipment that you're looking to do this with?
Whenever we retire some of our Ford Explorers or some of our fleet, I'm always going to be looking to give those to the police departments throughout the county, the 20 different police departments. This is just the first of, this is actually the second piece of equipment I've donated. The first piece of equipment was the Ford Expedition vehicle that the previous sheriff was using. It was a lot more vehicle than I needed, and having been the mayor of Attleboro, I knew of one of the needs of Attleboro, and the transport vehicle for police cadets going back and forth from Attleboro to the police academy was over 20 years old, falling into disrepair. It was a van that seats 7. So the Ford Expedition was a quite large, I call it the beast. It was a very large vehicle, and so more vehicle than I needed. So I donated that to the Attleboro Police Department for the use of their cadets, and they accepted that. And I think that's going to the City Council for formal acceptance on February 21st. I think that's when they're going to formally accept it. Yeah.
Any chance we can get the chief to talk to us as well?
Certainly, of course.
Chief, what's your first order of business once you get this vehicle in your hands?
Yeah, so we'll obviously get it registered through the city, and then secondly, we'll have it remarked with New Bedford Police insignias, and we also will. The intent is obviously to keep it indoor storage. So we've made those arrangements also. And then I think you heard before, they've obviously kept it in great shape. There may be some minor work with the radios, to make sure the New Bedford radios compatible with all the regional districts. We just, we'll have those assessed. But other than that, from what I understand, it's ready to go. If it's not, well, then I'll take that up with Chris Horta. But that's what he's told me anyways now.
Helping out other local departments. I see a list of them right there on the side. How can they get in contact with you to use this vehicle?
Sure. So once it's operational, we Bristol County Chiefs meet on a regular basis. So we'll definitely have a process for that to happen. We currently have a vehicle now, which is it's older than this and obviously much more out of date. The equipment and technology, it's more used as just a shelter, really. So most of those departments know the use for that. But this is going to have a lot more capabilities and be able to use. So we'll definitely make sure they're well aware and have access to it.
Are you one of the only cities in Massachusetts to have one of these?
No, I don't believe so. Most larger municipalities do have them, and I think what you heard before from the colonel, it's not uncommon for some of the smaller municipalities to buy smaller units. They sell some units that are about half the size, and then there's also, we're part of SEMLEC, which is a regional task force, so we're part of that, and they also own one as a regional team. I believe something maybe a little smaller in size.
Do you think this will come in hand? How will this be put to use? You mentioned, I think the sheriff mentioned the size of the municipality and the different events that take place. How's this going to help improve your operations?
Yeah, I can definitely tell you a few events that come to mind immediately. There's the Portuguese Feast, potentially the Wayland City Festival, the Half Marathon. A lot of those events will have an incident command center, and without having this vehicle, sometimes you have to have that off-site or in a building, which isn't always convenient. So what this allows you to do with the proper technology is bring police, fire, and EMS all in one setting, all into one space where we're receiving information firsthand, and at the same time simultaneously, and you're able to dispatch right out of that. So that's really some of the events that I think of. Never mind, God forbid, we have any type of active shooter event, a major event. You know, we had something similar a couple of weeks ago on County Street. With this, you know, by all means, could have come in very handy. So
So it's definitely going to improve those operations, like at the feast and whatnot.
sure, no doubt about it. Yes, it'll allow us to have. We have used, you know, we usually borrow one from MEMA, but this year, you know, if this is up and operational with the radio system and the camera system, yeah, we look to have that there this year by no means.
Yeah, and you said this is gonna also be you know, lended to the other communities in Bristol County. So if they had like different events that would require, you know, something like this to keep everything all together.
Sure. Yes, that's exactly my intent. Yes.
Now, I hope we're going to get a tour inside. Is this something, I know you've been really active at local elementary schools. Is this something that kids may be able to tour? Or is that not the piece of equipment for it?
Sure. I mean, I didn't, you know, take an assessment of all the equipment, but it's definitely something I think that you'd see at National Nights Out and different touch a truck events and things like that. That's really, I've tried to doing that with a few of our apparatus or cruisers that we have, a piece of equipment. So this will be no different. There's nothing inside this machine that's that high tech or high security that's going to, you know, that's really not would be open to the public. So no, that by all means, once it's ready to go, it will definitely make itself available. You'll see it at different events.
Maybe off topic, there's been word of shortages that you're dealing with in the department, with like different like officer shortages. Tell us some of the things you have done to address that.
Well, what we've done is we're trying to do more recruitment. As we know, it is a national issue, right? You look at any urban-sized police department, urban city, municipal police department, it's been an ongoing issue. So obviously there's a number of factors you take into place, but it's, you know, obviously recruitment and retention are the two biggest things. And that's really what everybody's trying to figure out. I wish there was one answer, because like I said, if it was, you know, we wouldn't be facing this problem, but it's a crisis throughout the country. No different here in New Bedford, but we need to continue to work to to work on those two issues: retention and recruitment.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
So, recruitment and retention is a problem kind of everywhere. We're down about 100 correctional officers here in Bristol County Sheriff's Office, and when I was mayor in Attleboro, we had a hard time recruiting people with a CDL driver's license. Just getting it across the board. Even Waste Management has a hard time hiring mechanics to repair their fleet, and drivers to pick up the trash, and that caused kind of delays in the trash pickup. So it's not unique to just police, and police have a really tough job as it is, as do correctional officers. But it's just after COVID, it seems like a lot of people just don't want to work anymore. I'm not really sure what's going on, but it's been a challenge.